let's get into the giant mailbag.
What crazy thing did City do this week?
It's time for Mattress Running the Numbers. Ready for the main event?
The main event.
Frequent Miler on the air starts now. Frequent Miler on the air starts now. Today's main event, game-changing transfer bonuses. The Bilt card ain't just for renters anymore.
Sure isn't. I initially back in the day said this was a great card if you're renting, but it didn't make a lot of sense to me as a non-renter. And I'm wouldn't you know it. And nowadays there's one in my household because, like Greg said, it's not just for renters. In fact, like it's great for renters, but man, I think it's going to work out for a lot of people. It's certainly working for us, but we'll talk more about that. We'll get more into that during the rest of the show. But don't forget that you can find the show notes. If you expand the description box, you'll find timestamps and hopefully links to those timestamps. So you can jump around if you want to move ahead to a specific segment or you want to come back and listen to another segment again. Wherever you're watching or listening, don't forget to like the show, leave a comment. Those things help other people find the show too. So we appreciate that. Okay, Greg, drag out this week's giant mailbag.
All right. Today's giant mail comes from Just Me, huh? This was a comment on a post where we posted about our pick for the deal of the year in 2023, and we picked a Bilt 100% transfer bonus to Air France KLM Flying Blue as the deal of the year. And Just Miha says, in all caps, Bilt transfer bonuses are bogus. 3 exclamation points.
3, not 1, not 2.
Yeah, I didn't know how to get that into my intonation. And then in lowercase, there I said it. The fact that you get an amazing transfer bonus on a minuscule points balance is in no way noteworthy and definitely not deal of the year worthy. Okay, so I mean, I understand where Just Miha is coming from because the Bilt ecosystem doesn't have lots of cards where you could sign up for and get like Chase and Amex and some others have lots of cards where you can earn lots of points just by signing up for lots of cards. Sometimes you could sign up for cards multiple times, like wait 48 months or whatever the rule is and sign up again. Bilt just doesn't have that. They don't even have an official welcome bonus. So the only good ways to earn Bilt points are through credit card spend or if you pay rent. That's their original niche. So yeah. So where what Just Miha is saying makes sense, but things have changed. And in today's main event, we're gonna talk about why things have changed, why we don't think, at least I don't think, I'll let Nick speak for himself, why I don't think that Just Miha's criticism holds water anymore going forward.
Agreed. And yeah, and let's not forget the original target market, which we'll talk more today about why that's not the limitation anymore. But my goodness, I mean, I know I would say in my normal social circles, like I don't know anybody who plays this game the way we do. So my normal daily friends and people that I know don't play the games that we play, but I know a lot of people who rent apartments, and so a lot of those people would benefit a lot from Bilt, and I know quite a few people that pay enough in rent that they would earn a non-minuscule balance over the course of every single year. And if they're able to take advantage of these transfer bonuses, great. But we'll talk more about why I opened it, even though I'm not paying any rent. So we'll talk about that later.
And just to close the loop, in case you don't know out there, Bilt is a fee-free card that lets you earn points paying rent among paying other things. But that's what's unusual about it, and what made it special in the first place, but things have changed to make it special in many other ways as well.
Yeah,
okay.
Good. All right, let's talk about card talk.
All right. So this was brand new for us as we're recording this. This morning we got up and learned that Delta had increased the annual fees on all their cards and couponized them.
They love the coupon book model, Greg. Yes, it's finally come to Delta cards. Wow.
Okay. Yeah, right. Yeah, we love these coupon book models. So this has become, all of the Delta cards in the U.S. are issued by American Express, and Amex has been on a coupon book tear in the last few years, and so it's finally hit the Delta cards. with let's talk about where things are at now. The Delta Gold card was $150 I'm sorry, was $99 a year. It's now 150. The Delta Platinum card was 250. It's now 350. And the Delta Reserve card was 550. It's now 650. So that's the bad news, is that the cards each went up by well, about $100, except for the gold, which went up by a little bit less. But they got new features which could make you happy about paying $100 more or so. The Delta Gold card has now a $200 Delta flight credit after a 10K spend instead of $100 previously. So if you're spending the 10K anyway, now you have a much bigger flight credit. And you also get $100 of credit towards Delta Stays. That's basically their hotel booking platform. And if you have the business version of the gold card, it's $150 towards a Delta stay. So yeah, so if you use these new perks, obviously it could be worth the extra, $51 a year. The Platinum and Reserve cards have a lot more going on. So they both also added various amounts of Delta Stays credits. So those are the hotel booking platform again. They also added monthly Resi credits. And so that's basically you book hotels, you book restaurants through Resi. And when you pay with your card at the restaurant, somehow magically Amex is supposed to know that that restaurant belongs to the Resi network and will credit you back a little bit, $10 or $20 a month kind of thing. There's also monthly rideshare credits. So that's kind of interesting. This is different from Amex has branched out a bit here, because in all their other rideshare credits, what it is, it's specifically Uber credits that disappear at the end of the month. But this is different. This is actually paying with your credit card for Uber, for Lyft, there's a number of other ones that I've never heard of, and they'll rebate those charges up to a certain amount per month. The terms say it's not going to work with things like Uber Eats, so I wouldn't hold my breath on that, but who knows? Maybe it will. And but there's more. So in addition to all those coupon credits, you also get Platinum cards now. If you're a Platinum card holder, you get added to the complimentary upgrade list. So that's a feature that the Reserve card has had for a while. That means that if you have no elite status at all, and you book an economy flight, let's say, and then when you show up at the airport, you will be on the upgrade list for first class. Now you'll be, number 189 on the upgrade list.
I was going to say, you're going to see your name up on that. If you really just want to see your name in lights, this is going to give it to you. But or at least 3 digits of your last name, and three letters of your last name in lights. But that's about it, right?
But you know what? When you're flying the midnight flight out of Wichita, I think you have a 50-50 chance of getting that upgrade.
50-50, because of course you'll be behind all of the Delta elites and all of the Delta Reserve card holders. Yeah. So I mean, you really got to be on a pretty empty flight for that to work out.
It's almost a punishment in a way, because you'll probably never get upgraded, and yet you'll always have that hope, and then your hopes will be dashed every time you fly. I think if you have a Platinum card, you better just stop flying Delta altogether. It'll be too depressing. Platinum card also added Hertz Elite status, which again, the Reserve card already had a version of Elite status. But here's the part I actually find really exciting. The companion tickets, both the Platinum card and the Reserve card, have annual companion tickets that you get upon renewal. And previously, these were only available to fly within the lower 48 United States, with couple minor exceptions. Like if you live in Hawaii or Puerto Rico, then you could fly round trip from one of those places, but you couldn't fly to them with these companion tickets. But now the companion tickets are good for not just the lower 48, but all U.S. states, including Alaska and Hawaii, but also Mexico, the Caribbean, and Central America. So, wow, I mean, that greatly expands the power of these things. For the platinum card, as always, is for booking economy, and the reserve card was always previously good for booking economy or first class round trip tickets and adding your companion. So yeah, what do you think? I mean, a lot of good news, but of course the increased fees and the more coupon headaches is not necessarily good news.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not happy to see annual fee increases, mostly just because, I mean, this is quite a bit of creep in annual fees over the last several years. I mean, these fees have gone up significantly. I mean, the reserve, what it was 450 a couple of years ago, right? So,
Yeah.
you're talking about almost a 50% increase in just a couple of years. So, and as I've said before, I need another $600 credit card like I need a hole in the head. I mean, there's just so many of them out there. So, yeah, like you said, the credits add up to be worth more, and the companion certificate, it makes sense, is going to be more valuable. So, I can see some people saying, "Well, yeah, that's worth another $100," and I guess they're not wrong. I mean, it probably is worth another $100. I just don't really like the idea of being forced to spend another $100 that I wouldn't have wanted to. Of course, I say that as somebody who's never had a Delta card and probably isn't going to get one. So, so my opinion doesn't matter nearly so much as yours. What do you think, Craig? I mean, are these a net win?
Yeah. Yes. For I'd say for well, for me, I need to spend some time and think
Yeah,
about like all the different scenarios, but um I think the ability to fly, for example, to Hawaii with a companion ticket
yeah, that's pretty good.
is fantastic.
Yeah,
And I mean, I know for anyone who is used to Alaska's companion tickets, yes, I know you could always do that with them, but this is brand new for Delta. So I'm pretty excited about that, especially because Delta, at least recently, has had nonstop flights to Honolulu from Detroit. So it'd be pretty awesome to be able to book that at a reasonable rate and add a companion.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, you're right. I think that that probably is great news for a lot of people. So, and also, I should mention that these cards arguably became more interesting this year thanks to the MQD head starts, which we've talked about previously. But now they each offer a $2,500 MQD head start, which we knew was coming, but now I think those
right.
are starting to apply. And so you get a couple of these, and you may have status, so you may get your name up a little higher on that upgrade board. I don't know whether or not it is going to make a difference, but your name will move up a few spots.
Right, right. They're trying really hard to make sure that everybody who used to be cardholders and used to be elite sticks around. So the other thing they did is Delta Reserve cardholders who kept their cards, who already had them before February 1st, are getting an extra 1,000 MQDs. So on top of the 2,500. So they're just throwing
Yeah,
MQDs around like crazy.
throwing them
So
out like candy.
yeah, it's funny.
Yeah,
Anyway, yeah.
interesting,
So
interesting.
that's
So
Delta.
interesting changes. Thank you, Delta, for giving us something of interest to talk about with the coupon book. I don't love the couponizing of things, but they look like decent coupons. So there you go. All right, let's talk about what crazy thing this week. For what crazy thing, Dany writes in with a story that was just absolutely hilarious. I think. So what happened to Dany?
Yeah, I've never seen anything like this before. So Danny says, I've had a Chase Inc. $95 card for 10 years. This year, they sent out a 10-year gift of coffee and some treats from a veteran-owned company. So that's nice, right?
Yeah, I mean, some free coffee. I mean, it's nice to show their appreciation. You've been there 10 years. It's 95 bucks a year. You spent, $950 over the years just in annual fees plus whatever they've earned from the swipe fees, right? So they show a little appreciation, give you a cup of coffee. I'm all for that, right?
Sure. And they appreciate you so much, Danny, that they sent you a 1099 for that $35 coffee.
Make sure you pay your taxes on that, Danny. Nothing's free, right? Coffee isn't free. It's just, wait, what? At 10.99, that's just unbelievable for $35 worth of
Is,
coffee. I mean,
is
come
that
on.
even is that even legal to send someone things unsolicited and then send tax forms?
Tax forms for
Like
them?
that just seems wrong.
No,
Like
it does. You're right. You're right. Like, because could you just give whatever you want to anybody then instead of a 1099? I mean, like it's not that like Chase isn't getting anything out of sending you the 1099, I guess, except for I don't know,
no.
maybe that somehow that benefits them to. show what they've given away. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, they're not collecting any money on that, right? You're paying taxes on it, but for a $35 coffee, I mean, wow, that's bold. That's bold, Shades.
It and in fact, his ink card may have been an ink bold originally.
Well,
Um,
that came to mind as soon as I said it. I was
that
like,
was the old name for the ink cards before they changed. So he probably has an ink plus now.
probably an ink plus,
Okay.
but nonetheless, plus the taxes. That's what it's for. Ink plus the taxes on your free coffee. So initially, when I started reading the email, by the way, I was a little disappointed. I was like, oh wow, I've had an ink plus card for a long time too. I didn't get any coffee. Now I'm less disappointed about that because
Same here. No coffee for me.
right, and no thanks. Like, I'll go buy the coffee I want rather than pay the taxes
That's
on the
right.
coffee I didn't ask for. All right. Anyway, so that's that crazy thing. All right, Mattress Running the Numbers. IHG is out with a promotion this week where you can earn 40,000 bonus points for every 4 nights at Iberostar properties. What are Iberostar properties?
Oh, I don't know.
I think they're all inclusives. I think they're all inclusives, right? They're like the Caribbean-ish, or maybe they're in Europe. They're all inclusive type properties somewhere. You have to register for this. You have to stay between February 20th and May 20th, and you can stack it with some targeted offer, apparently, to stay 4 nights and earn 8,000 points. So our own Stephen Pepper is a big IHG fan, and so he says that after 4 nights, you're going to earn 48,000 points. So, Greg, is it worth a Mattress Runner and an
Yeah.
Iberostar property to earn 48,000 points of 4
Right.
nights?
And to be clear, that's not counting what you might earn from the credit card you used to pay. So if you have like a IHG Premier card, you're earning 10x on that. It's not including if you click through a portal to book it, whatever rewards were available through the portal. In Steven's
Card-linked
post,
offers, maybe?
right? Card linked offers. In Steven's post, he pointed out that if you do some dummy bookings with the Capital One shopping portal installed, that you're almost certain to get something like a 15%, an offer for like 15% or so back on IHG. So all those extra rewards are possible, but still, we're talking about if you were targeted for that extra promo, 48,000 points. That's if when you're frequently able to buy points at a half cent each, 48,000 points is what, $240 of
Yeah.
value. So really it comes down to, would you be able to book a 4-night stay for less
than $60 a night.
yeah. I mean, maybe. I really
Maybe.
don't know. So
Why
if you
not?
could do it, great. It's obviously a great rebate
Right.
on your stay if you actually want to stay at one of those properties. And I'm sure, I guess, that many of them are very nice. I literally know nothing about them.
No, I don't know much about them either. But even if you paid $200 a night for 4 nights, so you pay $800, if you're able to go through a portal for even 10% back at IHG, which is a rate we see now and then, that's $80 back. If you get $240 worth of points here, that's $320 back on an $800 stay before you even consider whatever you're earning on your card when you're actually paying for it. So that's a good return. It's not worth going and booking a stay just for that. But if you want to stay at an
Right.
Iberostar, hey, I mean, you're getting almost half back. So that's not too bad.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, if it fits your needs, it could make a great little vacation with a big rebate. So yeah, that's great.
Yeah, there you go. I like a good rebate, but not Mattress Run worthy, probably.
Exactly.
All right, award talk. For this week's award talk, we got a bunch of different award search tools that now make it easier to find awards if you want to travel to Europe, right?
Well, it's not just to Europe. So I'm calling these discover tools, which no one else I don't think uses that term, but
Sorry, we're coining a new term right here on
I'm
Frequent
coining a
Miler
new
on the
term.
Air.
So about a year ago, when I first wrote about and talked about a nerdy tool called Seats.aero, at the time it was the only tool that I knew of where you could ask questions like, what business class awards are available from the US to Europe, or from Europe to Asia, or, big broad questions like that, instead of very specific. There have been plenty of other tools that let you ask, on this date from this airport, what awards are available to go to that other airport. But a lot of people want more, broad. So, for example, you want to go to Europe in the summer when it's hard, there's a lot of competition over award seats. Maybe you're willing to position to another airport to fly to Europe. So you just want to see what's available. And Seats.aero has been doing that for a long time. And the way they do that is they run lots and lots of award searches and they cache the results. And then when you query Seats.aero, it just is looking through its database of pre-run results and it shows you what's there right away. Some of the data is old though and could be no longer available, but it's still a great way to see what might be out there. It's a great starting point for your award searches. So the problem with Seats.aero is that you kind of need to know what you're doing. It's not made for beginners at all. And that's why I call it a nerdy tool. You really have to understand a lot of things to know how to use it best. But now a whole bunch of beginner-oriented award search tools have added new features that add that kind of discover capability to them. So Point Me has added their explore feature that lets you say, I'm flying from Detroit, let's say, and I want to go to Asia or I want to go to Europe. Tell me what's available. Points Yeah has their Daydream Explorer, which has a similar type of thing. And Rome has Skyview, and a new tool that I've been looking at, Award Tool, has a panorama feature. And so they all have they all have these new discover capabilities. Real quick, Point Me has a big advantage over the others, which is it lets you set that you want 2 people or 3 people. How many passengers you're looking for,
Yeah.
and we'll show you just the results that have that many or more seats available. All the others are just one person. Seats.aero can do multiple, but not with all airlines, unfortunately. So Point Me has a leg up there, but Point Me will only let you pick, it'll let you do to a region, like you want to go to Europe, but it won't say from the US to
Good
Europe.
luck
It
on the
just,
way back
so I have to
home.
say, from Detroit or from New York or from. Now, each of those are quick because it's all
Right.
cached results. So I could quickly cycle through all the airports I can think of, but it's still not as convenient as saying just from the US to Europe, tell me what's available. So I really didn't like that. The other thing I don't like about Point Me is when you want to find out if a cache result is real or still available, I guess a better way of saying it, and you click to show it, it does a full Point Me search for that day and the airport pair it found. So it takes a couple minutes before you get your answer. The others have quicker ways of getting to that final answer. So yeah, I just thought it was worth pointing this out. Of the ones that are out there now, besides Seats.aero, which I still like using, liking the Points Yeah, Daydream Explorer, probably slightly better than the others, but they're all so similar. It's really hard to say.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have that capability though, because if you're flexible, and I wrote a post a while back about how one of the keys to winning in this game is being flexible, either in the time of year you're willing to travel or the destinations that you're willing to travel to. And so, these are great tools for finding stuff if you're willing to be flexible. I mean, if you know you want to travel to London the first week of April or whatever, something like that, then you're just stuck with whatever's there. But if you open up the parameters a bit and say, okay, well, I just want to get to Europe sometime this summer, then these tools are great for that. And it becomes a lot easier to find award availability when you start to open things up like that. Often when
Sure.
I hear people are frustrated, I know that that's one of the reasons why they are, because they're used to searching for a specific destination on a specific date rather than these tools. So I think these tools are valuable also in helping you see, oh, wow, well, I could do this or I could do that or I could do the other thing. It's not impossible to find award seats. It's just a matter of finding which ones are out there. And
Yeah.
I think
Yep.
these tools are valuable for helping people discover that. Okay. All right. Very good for award talk. Let's talk about this week's main event.
Main event time. Game-changing transfer bonuses. Yeah, so in the old days, like several months ago, the advice around the Bilt card was that it's great for renters. It's fee free. It lets you earn points for paying rent. Even if your landlord doesn't accept credit cards, you can use your credit card to pay, but they receive either a check or an ACH or even a Venmo payment. So it doesn't cost them anything, but you earn points. So that was the old advice. It was great for renters, but because there's limited ways to earn points, the old advice was it's not great for points and miles hobbyists. And but I'm going to argue that now the new advice is that Bilt is great for points and miles hobbyists now. And so as always, it has a great set of transfer partners like Hyatt, American Airlines, it has United, Aeroplan, Air France, British Airways, et cetera, et cetera. That hasn't changed. What has changed is that these incredible transfer bonuses keep happening. So last year we saw a couple 100% transfer bonuses, but then towards the end of the year, what we saw was a new pattern where you had up to 150% transfer bonus. And these are 1-day transfer bonuses. They always happen on rent day, which is the first of the month. And they've now established this pattern so that it seems like these are going to continue. And there's no guarantee that they'll continue, but if they really will continue, it changes the game.
It really does. It really does. And I mean, I'll repeat what Greg said, that we don't know that they'll continue. I mean, it could be that this is it and we'll never see one again. But I would tend to doubt that, because if that were the case, why wouldn't they space them out a little bit more, right? I mean, if they had the capability to do 150% in January, why would they do it again in February if that was going to be it for all of 2024? So I'm gambling here, but I would gamble, if I were betting, I would gamble on other bonuses like this happening. Maybe not every month. I wouldn't necessarily expect them every month, but yeah, I mean, these are incredible. I mean, you look at anybody else and you might see a 15% transfer bonus, a 20% transfer bonus, 25 is good. 30 is like only a couple of programs ever offer 30% bonuses. And once or twice, or, a small handful of times, we've seen 40 or maybe even 50%, usually not to programs that you'd want to transfer to at 50%, but like 100 or 150, like these are nuts.
They're absolutely nuts. And so the game now is to get a lot of Bilt points so that you can take maximal advantage of these transfer bonuses when they're offering transfer bonuses to valuable rewards programs. On February 1st, they offered up to 150% transfer bonus to Air Canada Aeroplan, which is Nick's favorite program, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many sweet spots with the Air Canada program. And if you like, if you're somebody who's going to use those award booking tools we talked about in Award Talk, and kind of just look at, okay, where can I get in all of Europe or in all of here or there? Air Canada is your program. That's your jam, because they've got so many partners, not only all of the Star Alliance partners, but more partners than any other program in the world. So you've got tons of different options to find award availability. So if you're going to be flexible regarding destination or airline, like, this is a great program for you. And it's not going to be the best program for everybody, because there's some distance-based aspect of it. So if you're on the West Coast and you're looking to go to Europe, it's not necessarily going to be your cheapest option for a simple round trip to Europe. But if you're willing to piece together a bigger award, yeah, you can get some incredible values, or really cool trips anyway with Air Canada Aeroplan. So I'm super excited about that one. I thought that was an amazing bonus. I wouldn't have expected, if you had asked me which programs I thought might offer a big transfer bonus through Bilt, I would have thought the ones that we've already seen, okay, I could see those again. And maybe I would have guessed that Avianca Life Miles would get one at some point. And I won't be surprised if we do see one to Avianca Life Miles at some point. I would not have picked Air Canada Aeroplan. Like, that really threw me for a loop. I didn't see that coming.
Right. So so it's exciting. It's a trend that we're seeing. Now, yes, we're gambling on it continuing when we're talking about this, but at the same time, that's true of everything in this points and miles game.
Right.
That anything you do to prepare for, earning or spending points and miles is based on hoping that what
find award
is the case
availability
now or in the past will continue
right.
in the future.
Right.
Okay. the other thing I want to mention, so to get a full 150% transfer bonus, you have to have top tier elite status with Bilt. Yes, Bilt, which is like a credit card rewards program, has its own elite program. Um, but but earning, so here's the thing, there's a synergy between the best way to earn points, which is credit card spend if you're not a renter, and a synergy between that and the best way to earn elite status, which again, we'll get into details, but there's two ways to earn elite status. It's from earning points or from credit card spend, which yes, you earn points when you're spending a credit card, but anyway, that's a little confusing. But anyway, the credit card spend, I think for many of us is the best way to earn elite status. And so by earning your points through spend, and then by getting to elite status all through that same mechanism, then what you're getting is you're getting more points because you're spending more, and you're spending more at the right time, which we'll get into. And you are then getting the maximal advantage of these transfer bonuses when they come, because you get up to 150%. Now, to be clear, what does 150% mean? You might think that means like if you transfer 100,000 points, you'd end up with 150,000 points, but no. 150% transfer bonus means you end up with 250,000 points.
150 on top of the 100. Yeah, I mean,
that's right.
That's absolutely crazy. And we didn't mention, but we should probably, that Bilt has incredible transfer partners. So even like if we were to throw out the transfer bonuses for a second, which I think they're important and they're part of the reason we're excited about this, but even if we throw that out for a second, keep in mind that Bilt has a great roster of transfer partners, right? I mean, you got Hyatt, you got American Airlines, you have United, Aeroplan, Air France, British Airways, Turkish, which I love, Avianca Life Miles. Like these are almost all of the best programs from all of the other transferable currencies, right? I mean,
yeah. And one nice thing is there's a complementary nature between the transfer partners that Bilt has and other programs. So for example, if you're earning points with welcome bonuses through Chase, for example, and you want to use Chase's best transfer partner, which is Hyatt, you can transfer some from Chase to Hyatt and transfer some from Bilt to Hyatt, and in order to get the number of points you need for whatever your booking is. You could do the same with United. And I shout out to Bilt regarding American Airlines. They're the only major transferable points program that supports American, and American does at times have some fantastic value available today until they devalue.
Well, and with these big transfer bonuses, again, the same thing that you just mentioned with Hyatt, they play really well with other currencies. I was totally happy to transfer all of our Bilt points to Air Canada Aeroplan because I know that we can transfer points from MX membership rewards to Aeroplan, from Capital One to Aeroplan, from Chase to Aeroplan. So right. I know that we can put together, like those points don't exist in a vacuum. They're going to play well with all of my other points. So that makes that exciting to me.
Right. Okay. Backing up a little bit, just the very basics of the Bilt card. It's fee free. You earn 3x on dining, 2x for travel, and 1x for everything else. But all of that doubles on rent day. The first of each month, you get 6x for dining, 4x for travel, 2x everywhere else. And that's really key to what we're talking about and what we're going to talk about the rest of the day. The rent day thing also it contributes to this all being a game changer for why this program is so important to people like us that want to maximize our earnings of points and miles. One really annoying feature of the card is you have to make 5 transactions each month to earn any rewards on the card. So you have to, you can't just put it away and use it once on rent day and hope to do well.
No, you have to remember to use it 5 times, which certainly, I mean, even though I write about these things and I know about that, I forgot about it temporarily. So, that's something that's important, and I'm going to have to put a little bit of extra attention on, at least in the beginning, to make sure that I make that habit and remind myself to make the 5 transactions per month. But, I look at my points balances pretty often. So I think I'll probably notice that I haven't earned points on transactions. And I don't know, do you know, hopefully can you add this to Award Wallet? Is there a way to track your Bilt balance with a word wallet? Probably not, right? Or is there a word
I would
wallet?
guess you probably could, but
Yeah.
I haven't looked at it.
Mm, mm.
The other thing I keep forgetting is that on rent day, the doubling is capped at I think it's 10,000 bonus points
Yeah.
per month.
Hmm.
So that's good to keep in mind if you're a big spender.
Hmm.
All right. Now let's talk about when they've been doing these big transfer bonuses and they vary by elite status. You want to walk us through what you get at each elite level?
Yeah, so if you have no status with Bilt, you just signed up today, you get blue status. That's the base level. So with blue status, when they run these transfer bonuses, which is again what makes the program most exciting to us at this point, you'll get a 75% transfer bonus. Again, when they run these, this is the pattern that they've had. I shouldn't say you will get because we don't know for
Right.
sure, but thus far anyway, people with no status have gotten a 75% transfer bonus. And so, if you think about spending on the card, and if you're spending at 1x, for instance, which we wouldn't recommend doing, I don't intend to do, but if you did spend during the rest of the month at 1x, effectively you're earning 1.75 points per dollar if you're transferring during one of these transfer bonuses. So that's not bad, but better yet, if you're doing any of that unbonus spend on rent day, on the first of the month when you earn a base of 2 points per dollar. So if I pay a bill on the first of the month that costs $1,000, I'll earn 2 points per dollar. That's 2,000. And then if I'm able to take advantage of a transfer bonus, well, better yet, now it's effectively like earning 3.5 points per dollar because with a 75% transfer bonus, that becomes 3,500 points all of a sudden. So that's again what pumps this up. Again, just at the base level with no status at all. Now, if you spend some on the card, you spend what is it, $10,000, I think, on
Yep.
the card, then you'll get silver status. And silver status is getting 100% transfer bonus. So an extra 25%. And let's not ignore the fact that 25% is like a standard transfer bonus. And you're getting
That's
that
a
as an
good point.
extra amount, when you have
Yeah.
silver status. That's a huge bump. So now you're looking at, if you're earning just 1x, that's like a base level of 2x if you're transferring at 100% transfer bonus, or 4x if you're doing it on rent day spend. So it gets a lot better. And then you also, I think, alternatively could earn silver status with 50,000 points. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. So if you have 50,000 point earnings, so there's lots of ways to earn points with Bilt, like we've talked about before. Rent, which by the way, rent spend is not counted. When we say
Oh,
10K
thank
to
you.
get silver status, 10K credit card spend, the rent, even though you're sort of doing it through your credit card, the rent does not count towards that. But the points earned from rent count towards the 50,000 points that would earn you silver
Silver
status, and
status.
also things like there's Bilt dining, and I imagine when you refer friends and get points that way, that probably counts as well. So
Lift,
those
the
those
points
sort
you
of
earn
things.
from Lyft
Lyft, yeah,
rides,
yeah,
yeah,
they have lots of
things like
different
that.
little itty bitty ways of getting points. Yeah.
Yeah, so as we've mentioned, I think for most of the people listening to the show, the $10,000 spend on a credit card is what's probably going to be the easiest path to status. But
I think so.
but I don't know, maybe if you're planning an event at a Bilt dining restaurant, then you could earn a bunch of points maybe through Bilt dining or something. So there are some
Yeah.
people where that might work out better, especially if it was like a wedding or a large, company party or something. Perhaps you could earn enough points to earn elite status with just, one big dining event. But otherwise, for most of us, it's going to be non-rent spend on the credit card that's going to earn status. So 10K will get you silver, 25K on the card will get you gold status. Gold has been getting 125% transfer bonus. So that just pumps things up a little bit more. And platinum requires $50,000 in non-rent spend or 200,000 points earned over the course of the year. And that's been getting 150% transfer bonus. So now all of a sudden you're looking at your unbonus rent day purchases that you're getting 2x on rent day. If you're getting 150% transfer bonus, it's like earning 5x on unbonused stuff on rent day. That's nuts.
Yeah, it totally is. It's nuts. It's great, and that's exactly why we're devoting this main event to this. What about a welcome bonus? Do you have a welcome bonus?
No, but Maybe. So no, there's no official welcome bonus. Bill doesn't officially list anything for it, and there's no guarantee that you'll get anything. But a lot of people receive a targeted offer after they get the card. So typically, like the day you receive the card in the mail and or activate it, many people get an email that advertises the chance to earn 5x for the first 5 days, up to 50,000 bonus points. So you can spend wherever, and you're going to earn the extra few points to make up five. So essentially, you could max this out with $12,500 spend at 5x over the first 5 days. So again,
That's
not
if you're spending in non bonus categories, not for
Thank you.
travel dining, right?
Yes, good point. Because you'd actually you could spend even more. Let's
Yeah,
not confuse
not
things.
confuse things, right?
Yeah, so with unbonused spend, it'd be 12,500 at 5x. So let's keep the math simple, I guess, right? So if you did 12,000 spend at the 5x, you'd have 60,000 points. Is the way that works out, right?
Right. And so right there, you would be at silver status
Yep.
because you spent over $10,000. And so if you then did a 100% transfer bonus, those, let's just round down to 60,000 points that you earned
Yep.
to make this easy. Those 60,000 points become 120,000 miles with a 100% transfer bonus. So 120K bonus. Yes, 12K spend in 5 days. That's a lot, but some of us can do that with things like we've talked in the past shows about, like paying your taxes with credit cards or paying bills with credit cards. Or there's so many ways you can do that.
Well, timing it out, when you have a major purchase, I think that's really what it comes down to. Is I think it's a gamble because you don't know whether you'll get targeted for the 5x for 5 days, but it's a gamble that, for instance, I was willing to make because a lot of people have gotten targeted for that. So if you had a big purchase to make and you're willing to roll the dice, that's potentially a good bonus. It's not the best we've ever seen. It's not, there are other cards that offer bonuses of that many points for a little bit less spend, but it's pretty good. It's not a
Yeah.
bad bonus.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's yeah. There are better bonuses, but it gets really, really decent when you factor in these transfer bonuses. All right, let's move on to after you're done with the welcome bonus. If you got one and you just want to, do two things through regular use of the card. You want to earn enough points so that transfer bonuses are meaningful. So you can do like what I did and transfer over 100,000 points and end up with over 250,000 miles. You can. So most of the tricks around making that happen is to focus your spend on rent days. So every first of the month, you're going to be getting double rewards. So again, that's 6x dining, 4x travel, and 2x everywhere else. So if you plan, just set it on your calendar, pay your monthly or annual bills on the first of the month with your Bilt card, and you're going to be getting 2x for all of that.
But wait,
Do you
Greg,
have any?
I could earn 2x with like other cards, right? Venture card, capital and venture card earns 2x everywhere all the time. Doesn't have to be first of the month. Blue Business Plus earns 2x everywhere on the first $50,000 spend per year. Then it's 1x. So why would I care about doing those purchases on rent day?
Right. That's because here, what you're getting, well, first of all, you're getting better transfer partners than the others, but more importantly, this is if you're interested in taking maximal advantage of these transfer bonuses when they happen, because 2x Bilt points can mean up to what, 5x if you
Airline
get to the
miles, yeah.
top elite status, 5x airline miles. So that's huge on uncategorized spend. The other thing you can do every rent day is pre-book travel. So if you're paying for travel, things like, let's say you're booking hotels, sites like Expedia and ones like that usually offer you the option to pay in advance, even if it's fully refundable. So it's not like you're getting locked in necessarily to a hotel thing, but if you could pay for that hotel in the first of the month, then you're getting 4x on your Bilt card, which would be great.
Which, let's be clear, we don't, Greg and I don't frequently book through Expedia because we generally tend to prefer to book chain hotels where we're
True.
getting elite benefits and things like that. But a lot of people do book via Expedia and third party sites like that. So if that's you, then yeah, it would make sense to do that on the first of the
Right,
month.
right. Or if you're just, booking flights or whatever, any kind of travel that would qualify, if you can wait till the first of the month to do that booking, then that can make sense.
Mhm.
Dining. So not only my wife and I literally just this morning decided we're gonna plan to go out to a nice restaurant on the first of every month. We're gonna celebrate rent days by doing that.
Yeah.
So because 6X dining
Cheers.
is fantastic.
Right.
But the other thing you could do is go to your favorite restaurant and buy a gift card on the first of the month. If you know you're going to be returning to that restaurant over and over and using that gift card, why not earn 6X instead of 3X, prepaying for dining, basically?
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely what we're gonna do. There's a restaurant in town. I live in a small town, so there's not a lot of options, but there's a restaurant here we get takeout from at least once a month, but oftentimes 2 or 3 times over the course of the month. So now on the first of the month, I'll go up and I'll buy a gift card for $100 or $200, or we'll figure out how much we think we'll probably spend over the course of the month. And if we don't spend it, well, then we'll just hold on to the gift card for the next month. But anyway, again, like you said, at 6X, that's great. And then with status, and my wife already has the first level of status. So with status, if I get a 100% transfer bonus, that's going to be like earning 12X on that restaurant spend that I'm going to do anyway. And so why would I put that on a 3X or 4X card if I can get 6X that might double to 12? I mean, that's a gamble that's well worth it to me.
Right, exactly. All right, let's back up and let's say you're not a heavy spender, and so you'd be happy just year after year getting silver status. So you'll end up with 100% transfer bonuses, assuming that trend continues. You would just have to spend $10,000 a year on your Bilt card, and if you average 2 points per dollar. So what do I mean by that? So um, during the regular month outside of rent day, you could be averaging 2X because you might be spending getting 3X at restaurants, 2X for travel, and 1X elsewhere. And then of course on rent day, you're probably averaging more than 2X because 2X is the least you can earn. So anyway, if you average just 2X, and I'm guessing a lot of people will average better than that, then you'll earn 20,000 points each year just using this card. And then when you get one of these transfer bonuses and get 100% transfer bonus, then those 20,000 points become 40,000 airline miles of some sort. And so then you could back up and say, oh, look, for my $10,000 of total spend, I got 40,000 points. That's 4 miles per dollar that I averaged.
I mean,
So,
hello, that's not a bad deal on $10,000 spent, right? I mean, aren't most
right.
people happy? I'm sure happy with a 4X bonus category. There are only so many cards that offer a 4X bonus category on anything, and when they do, it's limited usually in scope. And so here you've got a decently wide range of stuff that you could be spending on to average out to essentially 4X over the course of a year with this. So
Right,
that's
right. All right. Now so that's a level of spend like I think my son could do, for example, if he wanted to do this. He's not earning a lot as a young adult just out of college, but let's go to gold status because I think this is probably going to be the sweet spot for a lot of people.
yep.
So with gold status, I mean, to earn gold status, you have to spend $25,000 annually, or that's one way of getting it. And that's just about a little over $2,000 spend a month. So, if you can, even if you don't have $2,000 of credit card spend each month, remember you can do things like pay bills. You might have to pay a fee to pay those bills, but you could do it. Can be worth doing things like that cost a little bit in order to round up to the full 25,000 a year. And here, so after $25,000 spend, if you average 2X, like we talked about before, then you're ending the year with 50,000 points. If you take advantage of 125% transfer bonus, that's 112,500 airline miles. And so basically we can back up and say, wow, you were averaging 4.5 miles per dollar from your spend.
And that's not a minuscule amount of points, right? 112,500. That's repeatable year after year with a level of spend that I think is not unrealistic for a lot of people, especially when you consider stuff like paying your taxes, for instance,
Yeah.
stuff like that. I think it's relatively within reach for a lot of people to spend $25,000 on the card over the course of a year and to earn that many points every single year without having to open a new card. Don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you not to open other cards and earn other welcome bonuses. And so this is not a replacement necessarily for that, but that's something that I could certainly envision myself doing anyway for an extra 112,000 points each year. And again, when you look at it and you say, well, that's an average of 4.5 miles per dollar spent. Again, this is assuming that you earn an average of 2x on the card, but that's doable, I think. So that's pretty awesome. I think 4.5 miles per dollar spent. I mean, how can you argue against that? I don't think you can.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll have
I mean, you
some
can. Some people will. Some
some
people
people
will,
write in arguing
but I
with
don't. I
that.
don't
That's
get it.
fine.
I don't. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
do want to hear your point of view. Trust me. Um, now the next level. This is where my strategy is to get platinum status. It requires double the spend that gold status requires. So you have to spend $50,000 annually to get and keep platinum status. And but again, if you're averaging 2 points per dollar, that means you're earning 100,000 Bilt points per year. Um, and wow, then you would be eligible for the 150% transfer bonus. So 100,000 points per year could mean 250,000 airline miles with the right transfer bonus. And so that means you're averaging 5 airline miles per dollar from your spend. Okay, so how am I doing this? $50,000 annually, that's just barely over $4,000 a month of spend. I am doing things like we talked about earlier, paying any kind of bills that I can pay with a credit card, like straight up pay with a credit card. I'm doing that on the first of the month, the extent I can. I am contributing to, I'm lending money through Kiva, lending microloans through Kiva, which we talked about on our Do Good and Earn Rewards show. I'm paying estimated taxes on the first of the month so that I can earn. Now, it does cost me just under 2% fee to do that, but I think it's well worth it for to average. I'm going to be averaging over 5 miles per dollar from spend because 2x is the least I'm going to earn. But when I spend for travel and dining, it'll be more than 2x. So yeah, it seems like a no-brainer strategy for anyone who can handle that level of spend to me.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, I think that level of spend will be hard or harder for a lot of people. But I think
For
there are
sure.
quite a few people that will find that within reach too. I mean, certainly if you own any kind of medium to slightly larger than medium-sized business, you probably have expenses that could max that out, whether that's your taxes or whether it's regular ordinary expenses that you're going to run into. So I can definitely see where that level of spend is not impossible to meet and just with the ordinary bills of life. So certainly Greg gave you some good ideas in terms of other things you could do to meet that spend. And I think I don't know whether I will meet that much spend or not, but I could certainly see doing it. I could see where it might be worthwhile, especially like Greg said, if you're somebody a maximizer, like you're gonna average better than these numbers we're talking about. I think that's important
Right.
to drive that home. Like the numbers we're talking about here, which you would average if you were able to average 2 points per dollar spent, then with the transfer bonus, essentially you're earning 5 miles per dollar spent. But if you're a maximizer, you're going to be using this card probably for a fair bit of first of the month dining, for some travel, for
Right.
dining throughout the rest of the month. So, I mean, you're going to probably be averaging closer to 3 or more. And so with the transfer bonus, it's going to be even better. I mean, that's just a pretty incredible return on spend if you're somebody who's looking for a fair number of miles per dollar spent. Now, again, I'm going to mention another time that we don't know if these transfer bonuses will continue. So this is a bit of a gamble. Like, you're going to put a bunch of spend on this card and maybe they won't offer another transfer bonus, right, Greg?
Yeah, I mean,
Are
it's
you
certainly possible that the transfer bonuses are here and done, or that the future ones will be things we don't care about. But I'm willing to, personally, I'm willing to gamble that it's going to continue. My understanding is it's been very successful for Bilt, and there's sort of a virtuous circle here, because what happens is points and miles related podcasts like ours and blogs like ours get excited when they offer incredible transfer bonuses to good programs like Aeroplan and Flying Blue. And so we talk it up just like we're doing right now. And then that helps Bilt get more customers. And so it becomes worth it to them, whatever it costs them to do these. It's like, it's not free advertising. It costs them a lot probably to do these transfer bonuses, but at the same time, it's a different way of paying for advertising, right? An indirect way by basically giving people who are excited about it what they want, which is, I think, a
a good
great way to
transfer
do it.
bonus? Well, it's also good for their partners because partners like Air Canada
Absolutely.
Aeroplan that want more U.S. based customers to engage with their program, to sign up for their program, to transfer miles to their program. Like this gives them access to a ton of people who maybe didn't even know that Air Canada Aeroplan existed, or didn't know how it worked, or didn't know that their existing Chase points and Amex points and Capital One points would also transfer to Aeroplan. And now that they've woken those folks up with this huge transfer bonus, some of those people are going to transfer at 1-to-1 from Amex and Capital One and whatever else in the future, which is going to continue to be good for Air Canada. So it's really one of those things that just like it's a win-win-win all the way around. I don't There's not really a loser in this. At least I don't see it, or it's not us in
Right,
terms of
right.
like,
Well, you know what? That
the
actually
user.
that's a good segue to the next section, which is who should consider this and who shouldn't. Because the loser in this is someone who
Yeah.
gets caught up in all this hype, but doesn't actually value airline miles. So if your goal is, if you're going to end up using Bilt points for something like paying your rent, where you get terrible, you get less than 1 cent per point value. But even if you use it for paying for travel at 1.25 cents per point value, you're not getting any of these multipliers that we were talking about earlier in this discussion. So 2x, averaging 2x, yeah, you're ending up with the equivalent of what, 3% towards travel. No, not even, two and a
No,
half
two and a half
percent
percent.
two
Yeah,
and a half percent towards travel, which is okay,
but
but
only
you can do
okay.
better.
Yeah.
It's only okay. You can do better with other programs if that's your goal. So this is really, and I can't stress this hard enough, this is for the hobbyists who are going to really value the airline miles, the Aeroplan miles, the Flying Blue miles, um, and will end up getting great value from those miles by flying international business class, international first class, and or even just long economy as well. It just depends what you're doing, but it's always possible to get great value if you're into the game and you know what you're doing. But I'm just going to say it one more time: if you're not going to be doing that, if you're going to be using your Bilt points for other things, then
Totally don't. It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all.
it's
I like
it
don't get into it because it's not gonna. And not only that, like you're totally right. So first off, yeah, if you're gonna use your bill points for rent or Amazon or to book paid travel through Bill, like it's just not exciting or interesting. I don't think it doesn't offer enough value over your other best options.
right,
So
right.
this isn't for
I
you
mean, I would
then.
still take the points for paying rent, but I wouldn't try to get
Yeah.
elite status through lots of spend or anything like that.
Exactly, exactly. But I think also it's probably worth mentioning that it's also not for the person who's like, not going to be willing to sit on the points and wait for the right opportunity, because we're talking about speculatively transferring, which is something, to be clear, we've always told people not to do, right? Like in the past, we've always said, oh, yeah, there's a 25% transfer bonus, but don't transfer speculatively because you don't want to make your flexible points inflexible, without a plan to use them. And so this is going totally against the grain and the type of advice that we've historically given in terms of transfer bonuses. That's because they're so big. And so I think you have to have an element of patience and flexibility in terms of saying, okay, well, how and when am I going to use these points? If you're someone who's like, I'm going to go to Scotland in June of this year, and so I'm going to transfer to Aeroplan, and now I need to find a way to get to Scotland in June with Aeroplan. It might not be a great fit for you because maybe you'll find that, but maybe you won't. I think if you're someone who's like, oh, I go to Europe just about every summer or every other year, and I'm planning a trip to Asia in a couple of years, maybe this, or maybe, I don't know, a couple of years is kind of far off, but maybe next year, then okay, this might fit better for you. So I think there also has to be a flexibility in terms of the type of point and mile user you are, uh, in order to make that interesting and exciting and useful.
Yeah, yeah, that's all true. Then there's a counter argument as well for even for people who value airline miles. You might say, but wait a minute, I'm going to earn a lot more points, even considering these transfer bonuses, if I just put all my spend into new welcome bonuses for Amex cards, for Chase cards, for this, that, and the other thing, and don't put any spend on a Bilt card. I think that's probably true, right?
Mhm.
So if you are someone who is deep into credit card churning and you are set on earning all your points that way, then great, keep doing that. That's a great strategy. At some point, though, you might have to slow down. You might have already signed up for so many, and there's not that many left that offer great returns. So then this might be worth considering at that point. Um, the other person, even someone who turns a lot, if you have extra spend capacity, maybe you have a lot of avenues for spend, and you're maxing out all your new credit cards, but you're also have additional spend you can do, then this could still make sense for you. So, yeah, I
Yeah.
think,
And I think that's the boat that Greg and I probably find ourselves in the sense that
yeah,
we found a lot of avenues for spending. So spending on the Bilt card is not going to prevent me from spending on other cards, and so it feels less like there's an opportunity cost. I guess always there's some sort of opportunity cost because you had some other option, but it feels less like that to me because I'm not spending on other cards, or I'm not missing out on opening other cards because I'm going to spend on the Bilt card, because I have enough capacity for spend to do those things also. So I think if you're in that boat, then this is exciting. If you're like, I have a capacity to spend $15,000 a year or $10,000 a year, period, then I don't necessarily think it is worth going after silver
agree.
status. You could probably get 2 or 3 welcome bonuses each year, and you're not going to, at that velocity, you're not going to run out of good welcome bonuses anytime soon. So, in that case, yeah, it makes totally much more sense to just go after a few good welcome bonuses each year. So,
Yeah, yeah. But at the 10,000 spend, if you're not someone interested in signing up for new cards
yeah,
all the time, just want one,
yeah.
this could be a good option.
Mhm.
Again, if you highly value airline miles.
Yeah, and you're willing to take a look at the transfer partners that whoever's up for a big transfer bonus and say, okay, how can I use those, and what is a strength for that? Because a lot of times you do have to look at what's the strength of the transfer partner rather than this
Mhm.
is the trip, and so how do I make this square peg fit in this round hole? It's more so looking at, okay, well, what do they do well, and how can I enjoy that? Because some points and miles are good for certain purposes and not great for other purposes. If you live on the West Coast and you just want a round trip to Europe, well, Aeroplan probably isn't your best option. So rather than frustrating yourself with, oh man, now I got all these Aeroplan points and it's not a good deal to go to Europe, first probably need to take a look at, okay, well, actually look at this. Built, or rather, Aeroplan points are great for going to Hawaii from the West Coast. So can I leverage that instead of using them for Europe? So there's an element of that.
Sure.
All right.
Yep.
So I think we talked about who should consider this, who it makes sense for, and it does, I think, make sense for a wider range of points and miles enthusiasts than we probably initially gave it credit for, now that things have changed pretty significantly.
Yeah. Now there are some downsides and risks. As we talked about earlier, these big transfer bonuses might not continue. um, Bill could change elite requirements again. I mean, they just recently doubled the spend required essentially. So I don't think it's super likely to happen anytime soon, but it could always happen. Um, and we already talked about that. Of course, there are situations where spend could be much better put onto new card bonuses instead of on the Bilt card. But I still think this is something that a lot of hobbyists should be considering, given the rent day bonuses and the transfer bonuses together make just an amazing combination.
Yeah, well, and we haven't mentioned, because there's nothing to mention at this point, but Bilt has hinted at the fact that there are going to be more elite status perks coming. Now, whether or not that actually happens and what that means, I don't know, but I'm interested, with these huge transfer
Yeah.
bonuses. Obviously, that's a pretty big benefit of having elite status. If they're going to add more, I don't know, maybe it'll be something that doesn't matter to me, but I'm curious to see what's going to come, because I imagine that they're going to add something that I'm going to be interested in, just because thus far they've surprised me in a lot of pleasant ways that I wouldn't have expected.
Yeah, yeah, but I purposely at least my own plans and my decision to talk about this on the show is based on what we currently know, which does not include those new
That's
milestone
true. Yeah.
benefits. But yeah, if those turn out if those turn out very good, that'll be icing on the cake. So let's see what they do.
Hopefully, I got my fingers crossed now that we have a level of elite status in my household and are within striking distance of another one. So hopefully they have something good coming up. All right. That, I think, wraps us up with Bilt and brings us to this week's question of the week. This week's question of the week is a beginner question that came in via email, and I thought this was a good one to talk about from a few different aspects. Shoot, and of course I just minimized it accidentally. There we go. So greetings. I'm new to travel hacking. I desperately need your help for developing a strategy for a family trip to Korea. Goal is to use rewards and fly business class for 4 to 5 people. They list the number of cards they have and annual fees that got waived because they're an active duty military member, etc. So they wanted to know, what bonuses should I seek first and what strategy should I employ based on my flight research below. And I really wanted to include the flight research because I think that this kind of matches well with what we talked about in the award talk segment today. So this person who wrote in, Alex, saw it as they have 3 options to plan a family trip to Korea. Option 1 is Delta, accrue Delta miles and transfer from Amex membership rewards and book on Delta so I can fly Delta or KL.
That's
or
easy.
rather
No, don't do
Korean.
that.
Right, don't do that. Option 2 is Korean airline miles, but you can't transfer anything to Korean airline miles, so option 2 doesn't really
Don't
exist.
do that.
Option 3 that they saw was Asiana. They said they could accrue and transfer Chase Ultimate Rewards to United and book Asiana flights on United.com, which maybe, if they have availability, possibly. What do you think? Is that it? Because those are the 3 options that Alex gave and was like, okay, so what do I do here? How do I collect miles and plan this? So if somebody came to you, they're a beginner, Greg, and they said, okay, I want to plan a family trip to Korea. What miles do I need? And how do I figure out what miles I need, or a credit card strategy? What would you say?
Yeah. That the goal here should be to be accruing the easiest to get transferable points currencies, because whatever awards become available when you need them, I guarantee you the main programs, Chase, Amex, even Citi, Capital One, Bilt, will be able to transfer to some programs where you'll be able to book those awards. And so I would focus first on what's the low hanging fruit for the biggest point earnings, transferable points, and then wait until when you're ready to book these things. That's when you want to start looking for award availability. See not just which airlines have awards available, but what program is best to book that from, because it's often the case that to book, a United flight, you're probably better off booking through ANA, which is a Amex transfer partner, or booking through Aeroplan, or booking through Life Miles, for example, or Turkish. So there's a lot of options besides United, and so you don't need to be accumulating, United miles in that example.
Yeah, I think that that's the key. If you're a beginner, and this is going to be an advanced strategy for a beginner, so it's going to sound like it's not the right advice, but if you're a beginner, starting with one single airline mile, like miles in United or miles in Delta, is just not the way to go.
No.
That's not gonna be useful for you. Ironically, I think that collecting individual airline miles is best for advanced users who will recognize what the good opportunities are with exactly that kind of mile and only use them when they've hit one of those situations or scenarios. You're much better off with transferable points. And the reason I said this ties into today's award talk is because what you need to do is sign up now for a free tool like Points, or you can use Point.me through Bilt, or you can check out Point.me or any of those other award search tools we talked about. But Points, is free. You just sign up for an account, so that's why I mentioned that. I think it's pretty beginner user friendly. It doesn't include all of the world's transfer partners, but what it enables you to do is to pick a program like you have Amex membership rewards points. You can pick that out of the drop down and say, these are the points I have. And then the tool will only show you flights you can book using your Amex membership rewards points. But it'll give you the various different options. Now, it doesn't include every option, and ANA, for instance, is one that I don't think it does give you. So it's somewhat limited, but as a beginner, I don't think it gets much better than that. Like, there's not a perfect solution as a beginner. I think that's a pretty good solution as a beginner to figure out, okay, so what are my options? There's this Korean Airlines flight, and I could use Delta miles for that, which I could transfer from Amex membership rewards points, yes, but maybe it's a better deal to transfer to Air France KLM Flying Blue, which can also book that Korean Airlines flight, or maybe Virgin Atlantic, which could probably also book that Korean Airlines flight, or et cetera, et cetera. So I think you want a tool like that as a beginner to look at what the options are. But Greg's advice to collect transferable points is the best piece of advice there, because you don't know which points you're going to need the day you're ready to book. Like, if you're just collecting points now, you don't know what's going to be available 6 or 8 months from now when you're ready to actually book the trip. So you want transferable points and a tool like that to search multiple programs at once.
There you go.
All right. Good luck, Alex. Thank you guys very much for listening today. If you've enjoyed today's show and you'd like to get more of this stuff in your email inbox each day or each week, you want to go to frequentmiler.com/subscribe. Again, that's frequentmiler.com/subscribe. Join our email list. Follow us on all the various social media. You can join our Frequent Miler Insiders Facebook group, where people ask and answer each other's questions all the time about this stuff. So those are all great resources for you. And if you have a piece of feedback or a question that you'd like to be considered for a future question of the week segment, you can send that too.
Send it to mailbag@frequentmiler.com. Bye, everybody.